Week 1 is back, and I got a good show for you guys today. This will be the content plan moving forward. News and notes to start. Then we do a Q&A from the YouTube comments, so leave comments on this video, and I'll answer them in the next one. Then we do start sits for Week 1, and then we're doing Cowboys Eagles picks. If I do this on a Friday, we'll be doing it for the full Week 1 slate of picks, and so on and so forth. If I do it Sunday night, it'll be Monday. You guys understand. Now, the first bit of news, Khalil Shakir limited on Wednesday. If he does miss Week 1, Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid are probably startable options. I wouldn't really go with Keon yet, but Kincaid especially will be. But if Khalil Shakir is going to play, I would probably start none of them, honestly. I think there's not enough to go around just yet. We're not clear on who's going to be the clear number one pass catcher for the Bills, because that was pretty crazy last year of who to actually choose each week. Devon Achane probable for Week 1. He's back to practicing. Looks like he's good to go. I think Ollie Gordon will mix in, but if you have Achane on your team, of course you got to be starting him. I would not be too worried. Liam Cohen hints at ETN as the starter. He mentioned that he's the most explosive back they got. They want to turn a lot of 10-play drives into 4 to 5-play drives. I do still think that in Week 1, Tank Bigsy's going to mix in a lot, do a lot of the change of pace work, and I think that Baishal Tootin may get like 3 to 5 touches Week 1, and as the season goes on, he'll have a bigger workload, but straight away, I think he might even be like inactive for the game. Like that's kind of what happens for a lot of these late draft pick rookies. They're more important down the season. Baishal probably doesn't get much in Week 1. Jets guard Elijah Vera Tucker is out for a decent bit of time. This is going to hurt Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Justin Fields. Like Fields is already bad under pressure. This will only make it worse. The Jets are already imploding. Who would have thought? Juwan Jennings is practicing, so if he does miss the game, I mean, this is obviously you're starting CMC and Kittle, but it's a pretty much auto start for Pearsall as well. And if he is going to play, we got to see how much he'll play, if there's any report on that. You know, the 49ers are one of those teams that it's very hard to judge how much a player is going to play. Just look at CMC last year. But Pearsall is probably still a start this week, even if Juwan is in. If we get something like Juwan is full ready to go, he could be a start too. It's not the toughest matchup in the world versus the Seahawks. Quinn Johnston was cleared from concussion protocol, so if he was going to miss this game, Keenan Allen could have been a pretty decent start. I think all the Chargers' weapons, besides pretty much Ladd McConkey, are sits this week. It's a tough matchup versus the Chiefs. Trayvon Diggs, I'm saying Travion because of Trayvon Henderson. Trayvon Diggs is in. This kind of limits A.J. Brown maybe a little bit, maybe Devonta Smith. It's not going to do much. I would be more concerned about the Eagles just stomping the Cowboys so they don't have to pass much in the first place. But if you think he's a great corner and limits them at all, that matters slightly. R.G. Harvey was upgraded to the running back 2 on the depth chart. So J.K. Dobbins 1, Harvey 2. This is kind of what we thought going into the year. They're going to split the workload maybe 60-40, maybe at 50-50 at some point. I wouldn't start R.J. Harvey in Week 1. I could be talked into starting J.K. Dobbins if you're needing a running back, but Harvey I don't think will have quite enough usage Week 1, so I would still stay away. Then we got Caleb Johnson being the RB3 behind Gainwell. I think that's kind of fluff. Gainwell's mainly a pass-catching kind of back. Clearly, Caleb Johnson's their best workhorse running early down type of back. I think similar to a lot of these rookies that start late on the depth charts early in the year, he'll easily climb that pretty quickly. By week 4 or 5, he'll be the clear number 1. Najee Harris, full practice. We'll get into what that means for Amarian Hampton later, but he will be playing this week, it looks like. Travis Hunter, starting wide receiver, backup cornerback. That's what I've been saying all offseason. He's going to play a ton this game at wide receiver, and that's what matters most. Judkins still unsigned. I would be saying Jerome Ford's maybe a start if you absolutely have to. I hear he's going to get most of the workload. Dylan Sampson will be the change of pace back. So either of those guys are okay, but I think for week 1, Jerome will be better. As the season goes on, Dylan Sampson will be better. Bill Krosky-Merritt is listed as the RB4. I think that he's going to get some of the early down work, maybe a goal line touch, but Chris Rodriguez will probably compete with a lot of that. Jeremy McNichols is also going to get some of that work, although he's mainly a pass catcher. So him and Eckler will be fighting for that pass catching role, so I'm not too worried about that. And then we move on to the starts in week 1, okay? First up, the first 3 are Pollard, Egbuka, and Matthew Golden. Pollard has a tough matchup against the Denver Broncos. They're a top 5 run defense, but when Tajay Spears misses time, he is on IR. Last year, it was 5 games of that. Pollard averaged over 25 opportunities per game. That's a big deal. I don't care how tough the matchup is. If you're getting 25 touches on what should be a better offensive line, better offensive overall this year, I'm starting Pollard. It's volume over everything. Volume over matchup every day of the week. Egbuka, same thing. Falcons allowed the 4th most receptions per game last year to wide receivers, the number 1 most tight ends to wide receivers. touchdowns to wide receivers. And he's going to be the clear number 2 there, maybe even the number 1 in terms of targets this week, just because he's the easiest matchup. No Godwin, no McMillan. Evans will probably do his thing, but he's got a slightly tougher matchup. Then Golden, easy matchup against the second worst pass defense in the league last year in the Detroit Lions. I think he's the clear wide receiver 1. He was listed as a starter, so we don't have to go through that BS of, oh, he's the wide receiver 3 or 4. No, he's the clear number 1. And Jaden Reed is still dealing with a Jones fracture in his foot, so I don't think that's too controversial. David Njoku against the Bengals, the worst pass defense in the league, basically. And it's going to be a game script that's going to favor Njoku. Like, they're going to have to pass the ball. The Browns will be losing in this game probably, unless something shocking happens. And yeah, so I think Njoku's like an auto start over like the top 6 tight ends, basically. Like, he's in that range of top 6. Dak Prescott going to be playing from behind. He gets a tough matchup. The Eagles are a tough defense, but I think he's just going to have to throw the ball 40 times. He has a better offense now with George Pickens joining the team. And CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens with a horrible defense, that kind of spells like shootout every game. So Dak Prescott's going to be a start a lot of weeks, even no matter how tough the matchup is. Kyler Murray's going to be a start. I think the Saints are obviously a team that they're going to just kind of roll over, and James Conner's going to do his thing. So maybe there's not this like crazy upside for Kyler just because they're going to really just run the ball a ton, but I think the floor is really safe. Like, the drives, the defense is not very good. Like, the drive should be very easy. Should get like 2 passing touchdowns, maybe 50 rushing yards. It'll be like a nice, easy, median game for him, is my opinion on Kyler. Then Tyron Tracy should have most of the backfield to himself. You know, Cam Scatterbo's been dealing with a hamstring injury for a while. I think Tracy's just going to be the workhorse in week 1 here, and I don't think it's the toughest matchup in the world, so I think he's kind of a flex start if you need him. And then Travis Hunter, Isaiah Pacheco. Travis Hunter, obviously against the Panthers, bottom 10 pass defense. He's going to be mainly a wide receiver. His over-under's at 47 right now. I'm smashing that over. And then Isaiah Pacheco, tough-ish matchup versus the Chargers, but I think he's going to be way different than he was last year. He was playing through that broken leg last year, and that was like obviously something that's just never gone well. Pollard struggled with that. Mark Andrews struggled with that. Everyone who's had to deal with that doesn't do well immediately, but then they come back and they're fine again. I think he's fine now. He's healthy now, and I think he'll get the bulk of the workload. Plus, we forget he has a lot of receiving work. When he is healthy, they do give him a lot of receiving work. Obviously, James Conner going to score like 3 touchdowns against the Saints. That's hyperbole, but he should at least have 1 no matter what. It should be a very easy matchup. Bottom 3 rushing defense in the league. I don't think anyone's going to be benching Conner this week, but just want to put it out there. Pearsall, said before, if Juwan's out, definitely a starter. If Juwan's limited, probably a starter. If Juwan's a full go, I'd probably start a different receiver over him, but up to you. And then Trevion Henderson, I'm not going to wait for this. Like, I think he's going to be the RB1 on this team pretty early. I think he's going to split goal line work and early down work in week 1, but I think he's so efficient and such a good pass catcher that he'll still break some big ones off, and I don't want to be caught lacking when he drops 20 points. Then the sits week 1. If you have a really good running back core, I would sit James Cook. He had 5 points in the matchup versus Baltimore last year, and they were the number 1 run defense by far last year. They're going to limit his efficiency. He pretty much relied on scoring long touchdowns in every game last year. Obviously, he had 18 of them. A lot of those weren't even in the red zone. I think the Ravens are just too good of a defense, and the Bills don't throw to him as much as they used to in years past. So if you have good enough running backs, sit him. If you need to start him, it's okay. Same with Hampton. If you took him in the 3rd, you probably have to start him. But I'm just letting you know, with Najee Harris, that's likely going to play this week, and a tough Chiefs matchup, I think Hampton's going to get a welcome to the NFL moment. I don't think he's quite like pro-ready enough in week 1 to really just dominate immediately. I think this defense is really going to welcome him to the NFL. And the O-line's pretty banged up. Missing their tackle, obviously, for the season, Rashawn Slater. Mekhi Becton's been dealing with injuries throughout the entire training camp. We'll see what he's at in week 1. But I just don't think it's a good spot to start Hampton if you don't have to. Sutton, Goff. Goff has never dropped. He's played the Packers 8 times in the regular season since going to the Lions. He's only had 20 points 1 time. I just think it's a tough matchup, especially now with Micah Parsons. And then Sutton, he gets the number 1 pass defense in the league last year in the Tennessee Titans, and they get L'Jarius Sneed back from injury, who missed most of last year, so they're even better than they were, and they're already number 1 last year. So I think it's just a tough matchup there, but if you have to start Sutton, I don't mind it. I'm just saying he's got a really tough matchup. And then Stroud and Caleb, I just don't think in week 1, like Caleb, the Vikings defense, they're going to throw a lot of crazy stuff at him. I don't think he'll be quite ready in the new Ben Johnson-led offense. I think as the season goes on, it'll be better, but straight away, that'll be tough. And then Stroud against the Rams, we know the Rams are a great pass defense. I need to kind of see it first. He's actually never been a great fantasy quarterback, even in his first rookie season where everyone was like, like all over him. He was averaging 17 points per game. It was not some like otherworldly thing, and I think we have to see it happen beforehand. We have to see Jaden Higgins, we have to see Christian Kirk. I need to see a good week from him before I'm comfortable starting him. This really isn't that. I think Nico has a tough matchup. Nico's that guy. He'll still do well, but he's got a tough matchup. It won't be easy for Stroud. Then we got Ridley. I got a question mark here because Surtain's a beast. He's probably going to shadow him, but I think Ridley could still see like 10 targets because that's just what Cam Ward wants to do, and they should be playing from behind. So it's like one of those things, like, is the volume worth the matchup? I kind of said that for Tony Pollard, right? So I guess I kind of got to play Ridley. I would if you can. Like, I drafted Ridley last night in the 6th, 7th round. You probably have better wide receivers to start, but if you have to, I'm fine with it. If you have better options, go with those guys. Tucker Kraft has a really tough matchup against the Lions, who allowed the least fantasy points per game last year. He struggled in their meetup last year. If you don't have to, I would not be starting him. Same with DK Metcalf. He's going to get the shadow treatment with Sauce Gardner. His first game with Aaron Rodgers, kind of one of those things. I want to see it before I start the guy. He's never beat those great one-on-one corners, especially on a run-first offense like this. I think he'll get like 6 to 7 targets maybe in this game. It won't be great. Goddard, another tough matchup. He's played the Cowboys. He's gone under 3.5 catches in his last 7 out of 8 games versus the Cowboys. The Cowboys allowed the least receptions last year to tight ends, so I'm benching Goddard. And same with Ferguson. Eagles are a great tight end defense. He's done horrible against them in years past. I'm just not going to play him. And then we got the Cowboys and Eagles picks. When you join Underdog, Prize Picks, Chalkboard, and Sleeper with code DNR, you get up to $1,200. Each of them gives you a deposit match. You'll get a half-a-yard special on all of them. I'll show you that in a second on Prize Picks. And if you join my Dub Club, I'll put that in the description. It's my exclusive picks each week. I give out the picks early before the lines move. That saves you a lot of time. You get the best odds, the best picks at the time. And I'll show you which players to put in which parlay. So it's a good value prop. You guys will enjoy it, I promise. We hit 65% of our bets last year, so very, very good stuff in there. And now we'll move on to Prize Picks, where I'll show you which actual picks I like. Here's the Dak Prescott half-a-yard special. This is on every site. It's Saquon Barkley. It's Jalen Hurts on other sites. You'll see it when you get in with code DNR, but they'll give you that. So in this game, I like CeeDee Lamb over 71 receiving yards. They're going to have to play from behind, okay? Dak Prescott should throw a ton. I like Dak Prescott over 241 yards. Those two as a great stack should be amazing. I think with the receiving yards with George Pickens, it's probably okay. But I don't think the gap between Pickens and CeeDee is enough. Like 16 yards, I just prefer give me the 16-yard boost with CeeDee Lamb. I just think he's going to get so many more targets than Pickens will. But if you're in on the Pickens train week 1, it's a bad matchup in terms of the Eagles having a great pass defense, but they'll be up by 30 points. You know what I mean? Well, they won't be up by 30 points. They'll score 30 points, forcing the Cowboys to throw a ton. The Cowboys defense is terrible. They really won't be able to run on the Eagles. I think the only game plan is Dak throwing 45 times. So I like that stack. On the other side of the ball, I'm kind of avoiding Eagles pass catchers. And what I'm going to do is what I mentioned before with Dallas Goedert. Take his receptions under on 3.5. He's hit this in his last 7 out of 8 games versus the Cowboys. Cowboys play good tight end defense, and they just won't have to throw the ball a ton. I don't mind if you want to take it over on like A.J. Brown just because he's so efficient. Maybe one of the guys gets there, but I'm kind of under on Smitty. I'm under on Goddard. Push comes to shove, I'd probably still be under on A.J. Brown. And the last guy that I really like in this game is obviously going to be Saquon Barkley. At 96 yards, you can get this at like 92 on Chalkboard. I would shop between each site to see which one has the best odds. I like it at 92 for Saquon Barkley. As I said, they're going to be running the ball a ton. He averaged 22 attempts per game last year, and that was with multiple games he left early. He could see like 25 carries in this game, and I wouldn't be shocked. So I think that's pretty easy for him. And then finally, give me a Jalen Hurts rushing touchdown. What's a better way to start week 1 than a tush push? You know that's how it's going to start. It's how it happened last year against the Packers. He scored 2 of those in the one meetup against the Cowboys last year. But if you guys like these types of videos, I'm going to do more in-depth week 1 picks on Friday probably. So drop a follow, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.